Okay, so my full name is Chukwuka Ezeoke. I have an English name which is Joseph. I am a product designer. So that means I'm a digital product designer, which means that I design for the web or for the internet. So websites, mobile applications, web applications, stuff like that. I design for them. We started like 2021, then we late 2021, then we worked together into 2022 and then applied in 2022. I've been a designer for about 5 years, a product designer for about 5 years. I started off as a graphic designer in 2012. So I've been a graphic designer and then transitioned to being a product designer. Um, I before coming to the UK, while in Nigeria, I worked with a lot of companies, ranging from startups to agencies where I worked as an in-house designer, to actual established organizations. So, for example, I worked at Sterling Bank for some time. Sterling Bank is one of the most prestigious banks in Nigeria. I have also worked with an agri-tech startup as the first designer, and then I was able to build the team to a team of 4 before I left. I have also worked with, while I was in Nigeria, I also, worked with companies outside of Nigeria. I worked with some some fintech startups in the US. I worked with a cryptocurrency company in Estonia. They also had like their head office in the US. I also worked with I worked on a hospital management product for a hospital in Germany. So I've, while in Nigeria, I worked like all over the world. Coming to the UK, I guess it was time to see what else is out there. Prior to coming to the UK, I attempted building a company with a friend of mine, and the name of the company is called Spire. And the vision was to help businesses build a more lasting relationship with their customers and use that relationship in building better products for their customers. So we were sort of working around different tools to help businesses kind of build that relationship with their customers. And I hope to continue working on that here in the UK and see how I can also help businesses in the UK also, cultivate that relationship with their customers. Besides that, also, I do a lot of community work. Back in Nigeria, I was involved in a lot of communities within the design ecosystem. I actually have built 2 communities on my own from scratch. One of those communities is called TGIF Pixels, which is basically a community that allows designers and techies alike to come together and unwind. We talk about anything besides work. So we just meet up, choose a random location. It could be a restaurant, it could be a lounge. We just meet up, have drinks, catch up, and relax. I also have a community called Untitled Designers. Untitled Designers, we kind of had had our first conference last year, which is the first design conference in Africa, and it was really massive. We had 1,000+ people who attended. We had the second edition this year in May. We had about 800 people who attended physically, and we had over 3,000 live streams of the event. So I also hope to build communities here in the UK. I am a strong believer in communities, and I am a strong believer that communities exist to help, each other grow and to help each other prosper. And so I think it's part of like my calling to actually build communities to sort of achieve that. Yeah, okay. So it was actually a referral.
Yeah,
Um,
okay.
yeah, from a friend of mine. So we were exploring options around relocating together. She's also in the UK now. So we had the UK, we had Canada, we had a couple of other European countries, but the focus at the time for us was Canada because we felt, I mean, when we went through the eligibility thing, we saw that we qualified, right? And at the time, we had no idea that there was something called technician for UK. But then gave me, she referred me, gave me your contact, please. She said I should reach out, that she heard that you help people relocate. And that was when I reached out. I remember we had a conversation. You asked me a couple of questions, and then we fixed a time to have like a more elaborate phone call where you walked me through what technician was and showed me some of their reports, walked me through the possibilities, things that were possible if I was in the UK on the technician visa. And then we also went through the criteria and all of that. And then, you gave me an assignment to take my time and read all of it, and make sure that I understood, and if I had any questions, I should come back. So that was how we started.
Okay, great. You mentioned eligibility. Did you use our eligibility app?
So at first we did not, but later on, so the first conversation, we actually used the one on the technician website. But our subsequent calls, we used the eligibility metrics that you had created, to sort of look at places where I had the required stuff and places where I could work on. It was definitely a little bit overwhelming, but it was really helpful because, so prior to then, right, I do a lot of stuff. I think this also applies to like a lot of people. We kind of do a lot of stuff, but we don't take the time to document them. So we just do it half-baked, right? And then, so when we went through the eligibility criteria, I realized that some of those things I had them, but because they were not well documented, it posed sort of an issue. Like, I had clarity really on what I needed to do, what I had on ground, and what I needed. I mean, it even made me think about some things that I had done that I had even forgotten about. So it was really helpful. If besides doing that for the purpose of applying, it was really helpful in terms of letting me know that I had achieved quite a number of things in a short time that I had forgotten about, and I didn't even take like, I mean, I didn't even take seriously. I just did them and I moved on. So
Makes
yeah,
sense.
it was really helpful. So it was really, really helpful. Like, first of all, for walking me through my statement, I think that was one very key help, that made the process a little bit seamless, because if I I remember the first few drafts I wrote, it wasn't so great, and you gave like pointers on how I should tell my story, what should change, things I should focus on, stuff like that, and it was really helpful. So that was like on the statement part. For the recommendation letters as well, a lot of the insights and a lot of the tips that you gave were really helpful. How to package my documentations, right? My documents, a lot of my evidence, how to package them, how to present them, specific things that I needed to add. All of that really made the process really easy, because on my own, I don't think I would have packaged them up to the standard or the quality that I did and I used for the application, and I probably would have been bounced. But yeah, all of that, all of the tips, you spent hours with me. We tore down different parts of my documents, and we did it over and over and over again. And all of that really made the process really bearable and easy, just knowing that I had you or your organization behind me, helping me figure it out. So I didn't have to do it alone. If I was stuck, it was easy to just call and say, hey, I need help. I'm stuck here. I need feedback. All of that made it really easy. It was about 4 or 5 months-ish, but it was also like it was that long because I think I contributed to it really because I wasn't like fully focused. I was doing it and I was also, working. So sometimes it took me extended period of time to work on some of the feedback that you gave and then come back to you. But I think that if I had just zeroed in and done it back to back, it would have taken less time than that. I got my endorsement last year, around August last year. So when you get the endorsement, you have like 3 months to apply for your visa. And then when you're applying for your visa, they tell you to state when you think you would be coming into the UK, and then they give you your visa starts counting from the date that you chose. So in my case, I chose that I wanted to come into the UK this year in March. So my visa started so my visa started counting, yeah, in March. So I would have made sure that anybody who reached out to me for any form of community work was well documented. So speaking engagements within the community, teaching within the community, portfolio reviews, just community, contributions basically. And I've made sure that they were well documented, because I did a lot of that, but it wasn't well documented. There was no official email. There was no thank you. There were no pictures. There was no screenshots that even happened. So I would have really done a better job documenting all of that. Also following up with some products that I have worked on. While I had access to data for some, there were some products that I had worked on that I think are doing really well, but I don't have any data for those. I think I would have made sure that I kept some form of relationship with some of those product owners to have access to some of those data. I think it would have helped me. I mean, I would have had more projects or products to talk about, right? But I did have some anyway. Something else I think I would have done is engage in more stuff, because there were some things there also that I think I could have done or I've had the opportunity to do, but I just did not go for it because I didn't feel like it. Also, another thing would have been, how do I put this? So before this, I am someone who believes in just do good work. It doesn't matter if you talk about it or you're allowed about it. If you do good work, um, you grow, and your good work will speak for itself. But going through the process and learning, knowing what I know now, I would have been more vocal about some of the things that I have worked on. I would have been more, I'd have sold myself more, if that makes sense. I think a lot of people are doing that now, where they talk about what they're doing, they get interviews from like local newspapers, international newspapers, stuff like that. I think I would have done more of things like that. It would have been really helpful. I'll start from the obvious, or something very simple or trivial. Yeah, something very trivial. One of the things that has made this move worth it is not having to worry about light and internet. This is very trivial, but there's just something that knowing that you have light and good internet does for you. The internet is really fast. So I spend virtually most of my time online. And so this is like really important. Internet speed is like really important to me. And the internet speed is really good. I enjoy the public transport system. I remember when my first week, I told my friend that, man, this is not rocket science, so they can do this in Nigeria, but it's just witchcraft. I don't understand what's going on. But the public transport is amazing. Being able to, open your Google Maps or your city mapper, put in an address or put in a location where you want to get to, and then it shows you, buses going that direction, takes you to a bus stop, tells you the waiting time for the next bus, and the bus actually arrives. It says 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and the bus actually arrives on time, and you get in, and it takes you to where you're going to. Same thing with the tram. The public transport has been really helpful. Another thing that I'm enjoying is actually the environment. Manchester is pretty safe. I work out, so I go to the gym a lot late at night, mostly because it's a public gym, so it's always filled up in the mornings, and in the afternoons I'm always at work. And it's also filled up in the evenings, so I kind of go when everybody have gone home. So 11, 12, 1, 2, I'm outside, and it is really safe. I wasn't sure how safe it was when I first moved, until one random day I was coming back from the gym at like 2 a.m. or 2:30 a.m. and I followed this alley, and I saw like a couple of ladies just outside chilling, having conversations, laughing out loud. And, okay, I mean, if it is this safe, I mean, it's not on the main road. This is an alley, and ladies feel discomfortable, here at this time, then it must be a pretty safe place or area. And I started letting my guard down a little bit. So back in Nigeria, in Lagos, you have to always be on guard, right? So I started letting my guard down a little bit and not having to worry. Yeah, so it has been a great experience. I enjoy running outdoors. I run a lot, and I enjoy running around Manchester. I've actually discovered a lot of places during my runs, and I run for like really long period of times, like 2 hours, 3 hours. So yeah, I tried building a running habit in Nigeria. It did not go well because it's in Nigeria, Lagos. But here I've been able to build better habits, right? I've been able to build the habit of running. I've been able to be more consistent with my gym. Back in Nigeria, I go to the gym 3 times a week, but here I go to the gym like 5 times a week. So more consistency. Something else that I'm enjoying is cooking different uh, uh, recipes. So besides Nigerian food, figuring out other recipes for like other types of food, other cultures, and mixing and matching. Yeah, so those are some of the things. I also have found a design community here in Manchester. I've attended 3 of their events. And I mean, I'm still integrated, but so far, so good. The support and the availability, it really exceeded my expectations because every time I reached out, time was always found for me, right? And it wasn't just like 5 minutes time that was found for me. It was like if you needed us to do an hour or two, it was always that time was always given. And that really exceeded my expectation. And not just the time and availability, but also the support throughout the entire process, the support, even when I am here. I wasn't just like left alone, but like there was still support, even now that there is still support rather, even now that I am here. And I think those really exceeded my expectations. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I would recommend. In fact, I have recommended to a couple of people, but they're still trying to figure out the financial side first. But I have recommended to a couple of people, and the reason why I recommend is, I mean, it was really helpful for me, helping me figure out everything that I needed. I think anybody who is doing this process really needs that support. The process isn't really easy, and it's very easy to get discouraged. It's very easy to get frustrated if you are doing it alone, or if a person is doing it alone. And I usually just recommend, like, you don't have to do this alone. This They can help you. Travel can help you figure this thing out. No matter how long it takes, right? They'll be with you every step of the way. You don't have to have everything down, but they can even help you figure out what you have now, what you don't have now, what you can get in the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, months. Help you build like a strategy to get some of these things in place. So it's not just, I mean, travel isn't just there to say, oh, you have everything, let's help you. No, even if you don't have everything, they say, let's help you figure out how you can get, all of this in maybe a specific timeline. And then so that is why I like recommend travel to a lot of people, because they ask those questions like, oh, how did you get all of the things, that how did you get all the documents, how did you meet all of the eligibility criteria, etc. And I always tell them I worked with ways to figure out some of the things I did not have, some of the things I had, and I kind of had a strategy to get some things over time. I think that's really, really, really great value